Uranium stocks are correcting right now. Half of the investors, to be honest, it's the dumb money, are panicking that the uranium trade is over. It's the exact opposite. These are the buying opportunities that we are waiting for. Let's get into it. You will love the information that I have to share with you today. Welcome to Hot Trades of the Day, your show for swing trading ideas for the coming days and weeks. The uranium stocks are taking a breather, and after going up on average 50% in like the past month, that is absolutely healthy. This is not the end of the uranium rally. This is a normal correction and in a bull market. And let's make no mistake about it. The uranium stories will be one of the great investment stories of this decade. We're going to make so much money uranium long over the coming years, but the emphasis has to be on the word years. There'll always be short-term corrections, and those are the buying opportunities. What we need to do in these buying opportunities is not only to load up on the positions that we want to have in our portfolio, but also look at the signals that the market is giving us. And there's a signal in this correction that I've noticed in 2023, 2024 already, and now we're clearly seeing it. That is really important that the majority of the investors who are not very knowledgeable and deeply involved in uranium sectors haven't realized yet. So let's talk about it. Let's jump right to it. This is the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust. As you can see, we hit the yellow resistance zone that has been valid for about a year, and we've corrected. To be expected after this big up move in September and October. Normal. What we need to realize is short-term downtrend broken, short-term uptrend still valid. If it gets broken, I don't see us going any further than this blue zone right here. And by the way, if this happens, and I'm not saying it will happen, but if this happens, we got something really interesting here. We might have the formation of a head and shoulders if it comes down here. See this? This would be the one shoulder, this would be the head. And if it really comes down here and then moves up, then it would be the right shoulder. I mean, that's as bullish as it gets. But we might not even get there. So, URA exploded. This is the Global X Uranium ETF that has the uranium miners in them. You can see correction. It's a normal correction. Now the bears are coming out in panic and they're saying, it's a double top. It could be the world is falling apart. This is the moment where you need to go back to the fundamentals, and the fundamentals clearly tell us that the uranium story, the uranium bull market, this will be one of the greatest bull markets, not only in the commodity supercycle, but overall in the markets. A few minutes before I started recording this video, I just got the press release from a uranium company that just did another deal with Microsoft. So, the uranium miners are correcting, and here's the interesting part that we're seeing. I'm going to go through some charts here real quick, okay? Denison Mines, one of the bigger ones, it's down about 3%. Cameco, over 2% down today. Next Gen Energy, over 2%, 2.5% down today. Okay, so these are the bigger ones. Now we look at UEC, down 2%. Already, we're starting to see here, by the way, that's getting bought up. Interesting, right? Energy Fuels. This company, by market cap, is much smaller than the other ones, like Cameco. We are already seeing that the loss here is only 1.5%. Your energy, 1.5% down. Okay, so base in uranium, one of the explorers, basically unchanged. What does this tell us? This is the really interesting signal that we're seeing. We will have the same development in the uranium sector in the beginning that we have in tech and in the chip sector, where people just started buying the ETF, right? The chip sector, they just bought the stocks. That's where most of the money will flow in. So don't bother looking for the super hot next explorer. That's their time will come, but this will not be not in the first phase of the uranium rally. In the first phase of the uranium rally, the big caps will move. Well, big caps by uranium standards, which literally means like 2 bill, 5 bill market cap. That's about it. Except obviously Cameco. Kazatomprom, you will not even hear me mention it because that'll be uninvestable for a lot of institutional investors. So it's not interesting. So you want to look at the bigger uranium companies, find out which ones are your favorites, and buy up those stocks. And this could include some of the Aussies, right? We take a look at Boss Energy now, and I hear you. Brocken 5342. I read your message. You asked about Boss Energy. I'm gonna do a video specifically on Boss Energy next week. I heard your request. We're doing it. So we're gonna look at some fundamentals. We're gonna look at some charts, and I'm gonna give you my perspective on it. Paladin Energy, obviously one of the golden childs of the uranium sector. Aussie. It's also interesting. Look at this. Paladin Energy, way below the all-time highs. Boss Energy, way below the all-time highs. Cameco, new all-time high. Next Gen, close to all-time high. Those are the big Americans, right? What does that tell us? It tells us what I have been talking about for the past weeks and month. I have told you the big story, right? The Nvidia story of the uranium sector will be the US market. And comparing these charts of the big Aussie companies and the big American companies, North American companies, shows you that that's exactly what's happening. This is where the money is going to flow. Now, the big Aussies, they'll get their time in the sun too, for sure. And we're going to talk about them in the coming weeks because I like those two companies. And I really believe that there is a lot of money to be made in those as well. But again, we talked about the chip sector. You made a ton of money in the chip sector in the past years. Where did you make the most money? Nvidia. Why? Because Nvidia was in the right market, AI, with the right product. In uranium, it's going to be the same thing. The right market is the US market. This is where it's at. And the right product is to have uranium production or near production. This is important in the US, and also Canada is fine as well. Obviously, especially in the coming years, near term, the US will have to import a ton of uranium from Canada. But if it becomes true, what I think the US wants to do, which is, as you may know, the US has become the biggest oil producer and exporter in the world. Now it's not Saudi Arabia anymore. I think and believe that they're going to try to do the same for uranium outside Russia, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan. So become the biggest uranium producer basically for the West or the rest of the world. And if that happens, that means they really need to ease up on regulation. They need to subsidize uranium development of uranium projects, they need to ease the permitting processes, the environmental processes that take up a lot of time, and that means golden times for U.S. uranium producers, and we're already seeing it in the charts. That's the signal that the chart is telling us. So that's where we want to invest. That's it for today. Talk to you soon. Have a great day. Bye bye.